a good day for Minnesota, a good day for Minnesota taxpayers, a good day for middle-class Minnesotans, a good day for Minnesota job creators. The only people that would think this isn't good news would be people that want to raise taxes. I said at the November forecast, if you're looking for evidence in this document to raise taxes, you're not going to find it. The story has gotten even less evident for those who want to increase taxes. So, we're obviously very happy with the news today. It shows that the policies that we put in place over the last couple of years have worked, that the economy in Minnesota is recovering, and that Minnesota is headed in the right direction. One thing that I didn't hear from the DFL that was a little confusing to me is how we got here. And I think we can't leave this without talking about how we got here. A lot of the revenue that we picked up today, the majority of it comes from income taxes. We had an unemployment rate of 7% 2 years ago. Today the unemployment rate's 5.5%. We did this by growing the economy and creating jobs in Minnesota, and I think that's the answer. Almost $3 billion of additional revenue in the current biennium, and we did it because the economy grew and more people are working, and I think that's the answer. We don't want to be choosing winners and losers, and that's the problem with the governor's tax increases. He's choosing winners and losers. What we want is every Minnesotan to win, and we think that's what's happened over the last 2 years. In the next biennium, when I was elected 2 years ago, we had about a $5 billion projected surplus for the next, projected deficit for the next biennium. That's down now to $627 million. We've obviously made progress in the next biennium as well. So we're happy with the results. We think that although we can't ignore why this has happened. So the Democrats want to talk about that we either need to increase tax or cut. And I think what we've shown over the last 2 years is that the state can increase revenue without increasing taxes. And what happens when we do that is all Minnesotans win. And we think that's the answer. So, we're going to have a great discussion over the next few months about the governor's budget. Frankly, I think he's got about 10 days to come up with a revised budget. We don't think he needs a revised budget. We think he needs to go back to the drawing board. We need a budget that's going to show that our priority is growing Minnesota's economy and creating jobs. The policies the governor has put forth will do exactly the opposite. Taxing middle-class Minnesotans in increased sales taxes, in increased cost for goods is going to be devastating to Minnesota's economy, and taxing Minnesota's job creators is not going to make Minnesota more competitive. We need the governor to come up with a new budget, one that puts the priority at growing Minnesota's economy and creating jobs. So I'll let Senator speak, and then we'll take some questions.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. A couple of years ago when we started the budget discussions with the governor, he talked about the need to raise taxes in order not to bring our economy down. And in fact, as recently as September of 2012, he said the following: "This unwillingness to pay taxes and seeing it as a threat to our freedom and our liberty and our way of life, to me, is going to be the death of this country if it is not corrected," unquote. Well, the fact of the matter is I'm proud to say that we were able to thwart the governor in his attempt to raise taxes during the last budget negotiation. And what you have seen now is 4 positive forecasts come forth. The most recent one, of course, released just a few hours ago. And the fact of the matter is, what we have learned is that when we restrain government growth, when we keep taxes low, when we try to roll back regulations, allow people to keep more of what they earn, that as Minority Leader Daudt said, the economy grows, and then we have plenty of revenue to take care of core functions of government, which is a goal that we all have for sure. And so what I'm really hoping is, as we look to the future, Speaker Thiessen and Majority Leader Bach talked about the need to invest more, raise taxes, etc. I hope rather than investing in big government programs, we'll invest in the people of Minnesota. And the way we do that is to allow them to be the drivers of the economy, allow people to remain employed, jobs to grow, and the economy to get stronger and stronger, which again will pave the way to funding our necessary core functions of government. We are projected to have another $1 billion of revenue going forward. And the reason we have a projected revenue or deficit is because we are projected to grow spending by about $1.6 billion or a little bit more. That's how we get the current $627 million deficit. So folks, we can grow government spending. I'm not advocating for that. I'm saying we can grow government spending by $1 billion without raising a dime in taxes. And we're hearing a lot out of Washington and out of this governor about a balanced approach. Well, what could be more balanced than the governor getting his government growth and making it bigger by $1 billion, but not reaching into the pockets of middle-class Americans through and middle-class Minnesotans through sales taxes to get more revenue to grow it even more than that? Look, I believe all of us that are elected officials want to do the best that we can to serve the people of Minnesota. I believe that of the governor. I believe that of the DFL majority in the legislature. What I hope is that they can set ideology aside and look and say, you know what, this worked. We restrained government spending. We didn't raise taxes. We've tried to roll back some regulations to make Minnesota a better place to do business. And by the way, we still have a lot of work to do there. And we are now reaping the benefits of that. And Speaker Thiessen referred to the need for structural changes so that we don't have budget deficit into the future. Well, I would point out that we are projected to have a surplus out into 2016-17. So the fact is that this is a great day for Minnesota, and it's a great day for those of us who believe that if you leave the economy in the hands of the people, rather than running it from St. Paul, you'll have families doing better, you'll have workers doing better, you'll have businessmen and women doing better, and you'll be able to fund all of the things that we need from government without reaching into people's pockets. Be glad to take some questions.
DFL leaders say income tax increases still likely, wouldn't say if they back off from sales tax. What sales tax increases do you think start falling off in light of this?
Well, I think the interesting thing in listening to the governor and to the DFL leaders was even though we've got some room here, that they're not talking about reducing taxes. They're talking about more spending. And you know, we had this argument 2 years ago. We all remember the government shutdown, and Republicans said, we can do this by growing the economy and creating jobs. We don't need to increase taxes, and increasing taxes is going to hurt that. It's going to hurt the economy from growing. And you know, after a 20-day shutdown, which nobody liked, nobody was happy with, the governor said, okay, we're going to do this your way. And now we get to look back on history and see that that worked. So
they're in control, so they get to decide what passes. What do you think falls off?
You know, frankly, I think they're going to do exactly what they said, which is increase taxes. They didn't talk today about, well, maybe we'll get rid of this or get rid of that. What they said is, oh, well, we can spend a little more here and we can spend a little more there. You know, and here, I've been saying for a while now, you got a $3.7 billion tax increase as a response to a $1.1 billion problem. Well, now it's 620, I think it's 627. You know, now, you know, they're still talking about a $3.7 billion tax increase as a solution to that. So this isn't about increased taxes or cut spending. And, you know, for 2 years, the governor has talked about a balanced approach. Here's his balanced approach. They want government spend. I mean, they want to grow government. They want more spending. And that's what they're going to do.
Do you think maybe sales taxes died today?
Yeah, I don't think we've seen the end. My own personal opinion is he didn't propose liquor taxes. I think we're going to see that too. I don't think they're going to go backwards. I don't think they're going to give in and do less spending. I know the governor has proposed these taxes, but I'm not certain that those taxes quench the thirst for spending that the legislature is going to have. So, and frankly, I think all of it is the wrong direction for Minnesota. I'll let Senator Thompson jump into it. Sure.
One of the things that Senator Block counters by saying that you're from a rural district, property taxes.
Yeah.
As taxes have held the line here, other taxes and tuitions have gone up. Our property tax is a big issue in, for example, the district you represent.
You know, I think we need to look at the facts. And what we hear from the DFL is still campaign trail speak. You know, talking about gimmicks and shifts and these kinds of things. Let's talk about the facts. They didn't tell you how we got here today because they don't want to talk about that. The truth on the property taxes, that homeowners' property taxes have actually gone down over the last 2 years. I'll say that again. Homeowners' property taxes have gone down over the last 2 years. 3% this year. That's, or in 2013, that's what they're projected to go down, 3%. That's not exactly the way that it works. You've got local entities that set their budget, and then they spread it out based on a formula. So the value of the home can go down and the taxes stay the same. The value of the home doesn't necessarily affect that. But, you know, we've literally got property taxes decreasing, and these guys talking about how property taxes are going up. If we want to have an honest conversation about the budget, let's be honest.
You all seem to be taking a lot of credit for the Republicans being in charge of the legislature for the budget getting better. One of the things the governor said is this is the Obama economy that you all don't seem to like. Does this say anything good about the president?
Well, I can't comment on what's going on nationally. We've got a lot of states in this country that are going backward very quickly. You look at California, you look at Illinois, you look at New York, you look at Massachusetts, you look at many countries around, or pardon me, states around this country, and they're having a lot of trouble. If you look at the statistics, you know, the national economy is improving, if at all, very marginally. All I can talk about is where Minnesota is now relative to where it was 2 years ago. That's the thing we have control over. And where it is now is a $627 million projected deficit instead of $5.1 billion. Payback of the entire school shift that was done last biennium, including payback of shift that was done before that. So I can't say where we are relative to the country. Some states are doing poorly, some are doing well. Frankly, the ones that are doing well are typically the states that do the kinds of things that we as a legislature did, and that's to hold the line on spending. What I know is that we are in an awful lot better shape today than we were 2 years ago because of the policies that have been implemented.
Senator, when the governor stood where you did, he actually referenced the cuts that were made 2 years ago. And those, if they were characterized by Senator Bach as, you know, the homestead credit went away, the property taxes he's claimed have increased, and in fact he borrowed against the tobacco bonds. If you're going to look at this as an improving economy, is that the legacy that you feel that you are due?
What legacy? I'm sorry.
The cuts to programs, K through 12 spending, higher education
Well,
spending.
wait. What cuts to K through 12 spending? The fact of the matter is we added more to the formula by about a factor of 2 than the governor has in his current budget. We restrained the rate of growth by prioritizing spending. This idea that we quote-unquote cut education is an absolute myth. In fact, as I say, the governor has a much smaller increase in the educational formula than was passed last year in the Omnibus Education Bill, 2 years ago, in the Omnibus Education Bill. Education spending was increased. And by the way, when we did the shift that now has been fully paid back because of the improving economy, we added an additional sum to the formula to cover the interest that school districts would pay for the borrowing. So let's be clear, there was no cut to education. I was on the Senate Education Committee. We didn't cut it. Look at the numbers. All right, thank you.